All right, so I want to say why I have like complicated feelings regarding MAGA. Like, one part of me understands that a lot of people struggle in this country and they've been disappointed and let down by both political parties. We are literally like the most propagandized population on the planet. Like, nobody does propaganda like the United States does. And it's mainly across the board. I mean, I would largely argue that the propaganda is happening from like the right of center position in America. If you look at like the full political spectrum, right, that's factoring in, it's more of a global perspective. That way you have like an accurate depiction of as far left as we go in the world and as far right as we go in the world. That's what I'm talking about. So in America, it's primarily like everything's like geared towards the right. Like we prop up a version of America that like it's largely untrue. It's not really an honest depiction of America. Like our real history, like there's so much that's not told to us. So if you're looking at my videos, you have to understand that like I've woken up to a lot of different stuff over the last 10, 15 years probably, but more so in the last 7 to 10, but a lot in more recent times. And I'm somebody who comes from like a very kind of mixed background. Like, you know, I grew up in a rural part of America, in the country, in a small town in upstate New York, where, you know, cows outnumber the people. It's like farm country, people with very simple lives. Like my dad was a welder, for like a hose reel company. They did like the main, like the big product that they produced was like hose reels for like fire engines and stuff like that. He had a pretty good job, did okay, worked with his hands and always kept busy. You know, fits the Protestant work ethic thing that we promote here in America. And my mom like did a lot of different things. She worked for the school for a while. She worked for the state for a while. Did what she could. Lots of odd jobs. And I was closer with my mom. Not that I had an okay relationship with my dad growing up. There was a lot of kind of mixed stuff. And then I've lived in a lot of different places. I've worked in a lot of different jobs. You know, retail, customer service, worked with my hands for some things. I have military service. I've lived in like rural areas and suburban areas. Never really the city, but like I appreciate the city. And then, you know, my background is very mixed in terms of like culture, but it's very like Americanized. Like I felt like the Italian culture pretty heavily, not much the Welsh part, a little bit the Irish part, and Native American Indian, not really much at all, but it's there. And like my understanding of like America, the way I think of it is like, I think the most important part is that anyone, or at least it used to be the case, like we are effectively like the people of all over the world. There's a lot of like, you know, the population distribution is not, it's not even. There's like large numbers of certain groups that kind of like balance out the equation more, like a lot of European people, and then, you know, Asian, Pacific, and people from like South America, all over South America, you know, French, Canadian people and all that. But I think it's great that we have people from everywhere. Unfortunately, there are people in this country that really don't like that anymore and they're scared. But I never wanted to believe that like our country was like a white supremacist country, but now understanding the history and I'm looking at a lot of things that are happening now, it seems like that's the emphasis of at least one party and one class of people, or at least they want that to be what happens. So there's a lot of messaging of like painting a lot of other groups of people as like lesser than, while some of us are pushing back and saying, no, that's wrong. Like that's not real. Like you've kept a lot of people back. Look at the history. You keep trying to keep people down. You keep, like, you don't want to compete with other people that had to work way harder than you did. just to get where they are in places that you've been, that you got an easier ride. Like, not to say that you didn't work, but a lot of other people have to work a hell of a lot harder to get not as far. So I get the propaganda thing, and we have like some propaganda that's just dangerous. Like, it's literally like stochastic terrorism on a regular basis. We have an entire astroturfed right-wing media sphere that's a lot of our media, and now like even more of it's been bought up. So you know you have this animus. You have people that are struggling. They've watched both parties kind of screw us over. Like a large group of people, especially on the right, they're convinced that like it's the Democrats' fault, but they don't understand that a lot of that stuff is mainly from the Republican Party. That's their project. It's for the billionaire class. Democrats participated, but they're not nearly as guilty. I don't like either right-wing party. If I could make a change, I would say I don't think we should have the parties anymore. I think we should be mostly running based on issues and talk to the people, and maybe we need more representation and to think like larger numbers of representatives, and maybe we need a larger body. I don't know, but we do need reforms, and we cannot have money getting involved because that's corrupted everything. So I feel bad for people that have been tricked, but I can only take that so far, because we have people that are literally like laughing at people getting shot in the face, people getting their families broken up, terrorizing communities. And it is terrorism, and it is fascism that these people are supporting. We are like creeping towards this ugly Big Brother scenario where I don't know exactly what kinds of tools they will use against us, but I know that people like me are going to be profiled, and I don't know how soon. Like, I might just get sent out of the country for some reason, or sent to some concentration camp, just because I don't believe that it's right for our country to turn into a fascist dictatorship where we use our money to help engage in genocides and ethnic cleansing and social murder. Like, I think it's wrong to do the kind of sanctions policies that we have. I think our country should have normal relations with other countries, and I think we should have more fair taxes. That means the wealthy should have to pay more because they're the biggest beneficiaries for a long time. Like, the deal was supposed to be, if we give you more opportunities to use your capital, to use your influence, it's supposed to pay off for the rest of us, and it hasn't. They just take the wealth and run, and their money just stacks, and it unbalances the system. It influences our government, and now like they can influence other nations, and I think that's wrong. Like, it's not right. Like, last I checked, I thought people on the right were worried about too much concentrated power until it happened, and then they're like, oh yeah, sure, let's just kick out black and brown people and the people on the left that are getting in our way to do our white supremacist, Christian nationalist, theocratic, techno-fascist states. That'll be great. But no, it won't. Like, your problems are not getting solved by, well, one, they're not kicking people out in large numbers. They're buying up warehouses and setting up concentration camps for probably slave labor. You think that's right and that's fair, and that's at our expense? They make even more money because they don't have to pay for the labor. Our tax dollars go towards illegally grabbing these people, unlawfully detaining them, human trafficking them, doing torture, and who knows what else. And then what? Like, do they get any kind of a visa or legal process, or are they completely shut down on any legal pathway? So they're basically forced to pay into taxes without having any representation. Last I checked, that was unconstitutional and completely illegal. And you cannot detain people without due process. And I'm not a big fan of the carceral state because it doesn't work. It doesn't work for society, but it does work for capital. It gives them free or cheap labor, and we pay for it. Like, we are forced to pay stupid money to put people in inhumane conditions and force them to work, which is illegal, by the way. Like, even under the 13th Amendment, you cannot do indentured servitude. Like, you can't force them to do labor without that being a direct part of their sentence, and it has to be specific. So even if you agree with that, which I don't think that is good for society. It's not moral, it's not ethical, and it's not legal. So like I struggle to, like, I don't think I can ever forgive MAGA for what they've done, and I can't forgive the Democratic Party for what they've done. Like, they've lost to this game show host twice, who is a failed business. Like, I don't have time to list all the horrors of Donald Trump. He's literally one of the worst people on the planet, and that's always been true before he got elected. He's an awful human being, and he's the worst leader, I think, in world history. You know, unless somebody can pull a rabbit out of their hat and find someone worse, I'd be surprised. But he is a racist. He is a misogynist. He's a bigot. He's a xenophobe. He doesn't care about any of you. And he is purposely ruining our country. And he's grifting off of it. It's helping Putin. It's helping, in some ways, it's helping Iran. He's helping Israel. And our allies are screwed. Maybe you don't care about that. I know you guys don't like the UN. I have my beefs with the UN, but it's not the same as the beefs that you guys have. I don't know what world we're going to wake up in the next, like, 3 to 5 years, or even less. And you guys voted to torch this country, and you seem to hate what America is about in terms of the best of what we should be. Like, we are supposed to be able to have some kind of dream where, you know, back in the day, like, I think the American dream was something along the lines of having it better than your parents did. Like, to be a successful follow-up generation and build, you know, build something. Leave something behind for your kids. And now it's like, well, keep dreaming. Leave America. Apparently, one version of the American dream is to leave the United States. And some people who don't like what I'm going to say, or I have said, are going to tell me to leave America. And I'm going to say, no, absolutely not. I understand the project. As someone who put skin in the game, I served my country. I served to defend our Constitution and our people from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And this government is an enemy of the people. They are attacking our people. They are attacking us with ICE. They are doing eugenics policy, the way that they're cutting healthcare. They are doing things that are, like, causing businesses to close. A lot of farmers are not surviving this. We're going to have food shortages. They're doing savagery all over the place, where people around the world are going to starve because of an illegal, offensive, criminal war. We've expended so much of our defensive capacity, and some of our strongest weapons, I mean, you know, they're often used. Our weapon systems are getting depleted for no reason other than this serves what Israel wants, what Bibi Netanyahu wants. I cannot support people, and this is the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, the people that I mainly place more blame on are the people that have the capacity to know better and still choose to support these people. To sit there and lie in our face and say, no, ICE isn't doing crimes all the time. They're not doing terrorism. Now they're going to do this Homeland Security task force and turn their weapons on the rest of Americans. That is illegal. It is unconstitutional. That is treasonous. That is a traitorous act to turn our government against our people who have done nothing wrong other than thought crimes. We are at the stage, literally Chip Roy introduced the Mamdani Act, basically saying that they want to kick you out of the country, effectively, if you have any views that are left of center, especially if you are an immigrant. Like, if you were naturalized here, you got a green card, all that stuff. But I don't put it past them to try to do this against anybody who's on the left, even American citizens. They have deported American citizens. They deported American citizens for repeating Charlie Kirk's own words after he got killed in a school shooting. I'm not going to call it the other thing because I don't think that's the right appropriate word. And again, the right will sit there and try to say the left is violent when all the data points towards, like, in terms of politically motivated terrorism, domestic threats, it is right-wing extremism. There was a report on it. They buried it. They deleted it because it's inconvenient. You cannot find large numbers of people on the left that commit political violence. It just generally does not happen. And even if, like, I looked into it, I got a hold of that report, and I have it on my Patreon. Check out Born Free 44 on patreon.com. You can get on there for free for 7 days. And then if you want to buy me a cup of coffee once in a while, cool. If you can't afford it, that's cool too. You can find my other stuff on my free YouTube page. That's Born Free or Die Fighting. Please go over there and subscribe. I try to post somewhat frequently, but I have a full-time job and I have a life, so I can't promise any regularity, and sometimes I have to check out. So check out my stuff, but the study is there about like right-wing extremism, and the way they define the violence on the left, they're mostly talking about property crimes, and that's over things like environmental justice. Like the left, if we do anything that people are going to label, and I'd say mislabel, I don't consider property crimes as violent, because you're not harming people. I would equate harming people as violence. Like property is not violence. It's it's destructive. It's inconvenient. It may cause damage or ruin of property, but I barely register that as a crime, to be honest, especially when there are things happening on a regular basis because of people with too much money and no care for the rest of us. They don't care about the violence they do to us. Like, you want to talk about violence, you talk about the oil industry back in like 1970 or before that. I forget when the study was done, but they studied climate change. They were trying to find out, is what we're doing going to damage the planet? They did a study and they found out unequivocally the answer is yes. Did they change course? No. They started spending a lot of money on propaganda, on misinformation, on climate denialism. That is a core tenet of right-wing ideology. You have paid actors, literally, that lie about climate change. They've been doing it forever. And you can look back at like videos of the way that the right used to talk, like Republicans and Democrats, they used to talk more about climate change being something that we need to address as a consideration. Even Republicans supported legislation about it. And then they got money from the oil lobby, and suddenly they start singing a different tune. Even Democrats. And again, I would argue both of our parties are right-wing. It just, the spectrum is off the charts nowadays. You have Democrats that are supporting a genocide. You have Republicans that are supporting a genocide. You have Democrats and Republicans, not all, but most, supporting an illegal war of choice, a criminal war against Iran for our so-called ally that has consistently lied for over 40 years about Iran getting a nuclear weapon in 2 weeks, a month, 6 months. It's always coming. And then the threat of a mushroom cloud, oh boy, when it's always been bullshit. Iran, their Ayatollah, had declared a fatwa, meaning on nuclear weapons. Declared a fatwa on nuclear weapons, meaning they weren't going to get one because they thought it violated their religion. For the right wing, I really need you to actually go and talk to people that are Muslims. Go to them with respect and ask them, at the heart of your religion, what is it about? And I'm fairly certain they will tell you it is about peace. Christianity is supposed to be like, if you were to look at what the main character in your story, Jesus, the man, before we got into all this other stuff, the rules for him basically were, and it's the same with Judaism, with all the Abrahamic religions. That's Muslims, that's Judaism, that's Christianity. It is like, basically be a decent human being, like treat other people with respect and be, forgiving, love thy neighbor, care for the stranger, welcome them. It is not like get out of the country unless you have proper documentation, which, by the way, we've made very difficult, very expensive, damn near impossible in a lot of occasions. Like, if you listen to people in the modern day of all the stuff that they have to jump through in order to become a citizen or get a green card or whatever, it is difficult, it is pricey, it doesn't make any sense, because you literally, like, they make it nearly impossible to work, and it's just such a lie about these people getting benefits. It's a joke. Like, whatever benefits they get, it's like, what, emergency care? Education? Like, you want people to get an education. Look at fucking MAGA. If you want to see what happens when people are not educated, look no further than MAGA. I'm not, if that offends you, you are the part of the people that know that you were not properly educated. You know plenty of people around you that you suspect, and you're probably angry about the fact that they appear to be smarter than you, and you're probably worried that they judge you. People wouldn't if you treated others with respect, and you come with curiosity. You don't come at them with arrogance as if you know more than they do, or you know something that you cannot back up. We have to figure out how to coexist. And if you think you're a Christian and you're saying, I hate immigrants, you're not a Christian, you're a bad person. If you think Iranians deserve to get bombed, you're not a Christian, you're a bad person. If you think Palestinians deserve what they're getting with this genocide from Israel, with the IDF literally taking Palestinian prisoners and raping them with dogs, you're not a Christian, you're a bad person. If you think that the Lebanese right now deserve what they're getting killed, they're having their homes destroyed, they're being displaced, you're not a Christian, you're a bad person. That's not, like, it's an objective value judgment. If you think people in America don't deserve or should not, at a basic level, get fucking universal single-payer health care for all of us, and that includes people visiting, with our tax dollars, with the rich who will not feel it paying for it with wealth taxes, child care, UBI, you know the drill. The progressive policy set that is the baseline for other nations that are doing better than Americans. If you don't support that, you're not a Christian, you're a bad person. And you don't have to be. If you're supporting this Trump regime, Republican regime, which is not the full problem in America, we had problems before Trump got here. I know many of you probably voted out of desperation and out of anger for both parties. There are plenty of people in America that are angry with both parties, that are not advocating for the death and destruction of our country and others' countries. If you're not focused on positive politics, I'm sorry, you're a bad person and you need to change. Something in your heart is broken. Go get that filled. Choose to change. And more people can come around and coexist. If you change with your actions, you say, hey, I fucked up. How can we work together? People are going to be a lot more receptive. But if you're spitting in our eye and telling us, when we tell the truth, that we're lying to you, and you gaslight us, that ain't going to work. I am not trying to talk down to a big portion of America, but they keep spitting in my face. They keep advocating for people that just, like, they make fun of the fact that Alex Preddy and Renee Good got murdered by the state for no fucking reason whatsoever that's remotely justifiable, and then they go and refuse to allow the state to prosecute, and they don't look into it at all. That's criminal. There are many criminal acts that are happening. There's direct terrorism happening in this country. It is fascism. If you don't understand that, look up Umberto Eco's 14 points.